Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Good morning, it's Tuesday, August 23rd, 2011, and we're going to start first with the National Surface Map. As you can see, we have high pressure sitting right over the Ohio River Valley and building into the Northern Mid-Atlantic. And as a result, dry air is in place throughout the entire Northern Mid-Atlantic, setting up an excellent day of weather for the entire Philadelphia, New York City metropolitan area. So if you're going out to a baseball game this evening, or perhaps a picnic, or you're going down to the shore, perfect weather conditions can be expected with temperatures in the 70s to lower 80s, low humidity, and light winds. So basically one of the best days in August. But unfortunately, as we move forward in time, we're going to be dealing with a very dangerous situation. And that situation has to do with Hurricane Irene. This is Hurricane Irene as of right now. This is the latest infrared surface map, and I want to point something out here with this satellite image. Notice how Irene appears to be expanding in coverage. Irene is growing in strength. Now, currently right now winds are about 100 miles per hour. Once Irene gets past the influences of the island of Hispaniola, Irene's going to intensify rapidly. And we know that because notice this sinking air right here. Remember with tropical systems, the center of the tropical system has warm, moist air rising rapidly. Once that warm air reaches the upper portions of the atmosphere, the air condenses and cools because of evaporational cooling. And the hurricane or tropical low has to get rid of that cool air because it's a warm core low. So it produces high pressure aloft. Notice how the clouds are fanning out here. Now with that high pressure aloft, the cool air is expelled, but it has to sink somewhere, and here's the air sinking. So basically what we're seeing here is the entire structure of the hurricane intensifying and maturing. And so as a result, thunderstorms are building and expanding, and eventually we should start to see rapid intensification. That's why all the models make Irene into a major hurricane, category 3 or higher, probably by this afternoon, if not earlier. As Irene intensifies, it will pummel the islands in the Bahamas, unfortunately. So if you're watching this video and you are in the Bahamas, please, whatever you do, take shelter, and if you can, leave. Unfortunately, Irene's going to continue to move to the west-northwest and move into the heart of the Bahamas. So, okay, we know that Irene's starting to strengthen. We know it's moving away from the island of Hispaniola, and it's moving towards the Bahamas. Will it impact the southeast coast? And more importantly, for some who are watching this video, the northern mid-Atlantic. Well, to really get a real true idea of what's going on here, I wanted to show the water vapor satellite picture. Notice what we have in place along the east coast. It's a trough. Okay, well, obviously that makes sense since a powerful cold front did exit a few days ago and another disturbance is on the way for Friday. So clearly we have a trough along the east coast, and we have our hurricane down here. Now I have the upper level winds in place here because you can see they're coming in from the northwest and then from the southwest. This southwesterly wind will eventually cause Irene to start to turn more to the north. Now the latest model guidance now takes Irene towards the North Carolina coast sometime around Saturday evening. And when it makes landfall, it could be a major, actually it will be a major hurricane. However, I just want you to take one thing into consideration here. The model guidance is not, whether it's the GFS or the European, which is to some meteorologists out there the end-all and be-all to all model guidance. It is the god of model guidance. But in reality, it's nothing more than a really good model. And unfortunately, this really good model is not handling the strength of these disturbances very well. That can also be verified by the HPC, which put out an excellent discussion this morning about the state of the models in relation to these strong disturbances. So you might be asking, why does this strong disturbance here matter for our hurricane down here? Well, these disturbances are eventually going to pick up and turn Irene. The question is not if, the question is when. the later it takes to have these disturbances pick up Irene and turn it to the northeast, the more of an impact it'll have on the East Coast. But if the model guidance is not handling the strength and speed of these disturbances very well, then one will have to question whether or not Irene makes landfall or not. It could simply turn to the north and northeast faster and miss the coast entirely. Or it could make landfall and move right up the coast, right into New Jersey and New York City, and produce a massive rainfall event with flash flooding, wind damage, coastal flooding, the whole 9 yards. My point here this morning is be cautious, be prepared, but don't overreact. There's a lot we don't know about this hurricane, and one thing we especially don't know is what the track is going to be a few days out by the end of this weekend. Consider this, if you will. Our hurricane was originally forecasted as early as yesterday to move right over Hispaniola and start to clip portions of Cuba. As you can see, the reality is that the hurricane ended up to the north and northeast of that storm track. So if we continue with that pace and Irene continues to move a little bit more north than what the model guidance originally suggested, then that's something to consider. That is something that you would need to keep an eye on, that, Irene might just miss us, or it could impact us directly. The point is we have to wait and see. So here is the European model guidance. Let me just move it here. Again, now don't get me wrong. The European model guidance is an excellent model guidance to use. It's a very reliable model guidance, but again, we've seen in the winter, when the European model guidance is the king of all kings when it comes to model guidance, completely miss winter storms. Anyone remember the Christmas winter storm? Or the day after Christmas, Boxer Day winter storm, that completely missed the blizzard, and then it found it because of data. Now the good news is that the National Weather Service is enhancing the data collection along the East Coast, so the model guidance by 12Z for the 12Z model guidance should be much better in picking up exactly where Irene's going to go. The GFS might shift back west and have a track along the coast, or the European model guidance might shift this a little bit further east. We'll have to see exactly what happens, but more data can't hurt. So the forecast for the northern Mid-Atlantic is high pressure and controlled through about Thursday morning. Then on Thursday night into Friday morning, we have our strong cold front. Now this trough here will be the mechanism that will start to pull Irene to the north. This trough here is the one that will kick it out. If this moves faster or this is deeper, then Irene may move more north-northeast a little bit faster than what we're suggesting right now. That cold front moves through on Friday. Saturday is a relatively nice day. Clouds will be increasing as Irene starts to move north and makes landfall around the North Carolina coast on Saturday night. Obviously, winds are going to start to increase along the New Jersey coast. If you're going to the beach on Saturday, be careful. There's going to be strong riptides. But of course, that probably won't stop people who surf. Now, here's our trough here. Our hurricane's here. We're going to start to have southwesterly winds in this location here. So as we move forward on Sunday, our hurricane is moving into the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area. This would produce massive rainfalls. We're talking about rainfall amounts anywhere from 2 inches on the extreme low side to as much as 10 inches. Yes, 10 inches. We're dealing with a tropical air mass with strong lifting, orographic lifting, to combine that over portions of northwestern New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. And we're looking at a major rainfall event here, not to mention very strong winds. Let's say at this point, Irene makes landfall as a Category 3 or Category 4 hurricane. By the time it reaches the Philadelphia, New York City metropolitan area, it could range anywhere from a strong tropical storm to a Category 2 hurricane that rapidly moves north and just dumps a tremendous amount of rain, strong wind gusts, coastal flooding. It'll just be a very nasty day on Sunday, and quite frankly, a very dangerous one. Unfortunately, at the same time with this threat, because our next disturbance is further out, it's going to take a little bit of time, perhaps about 24 hours, to get Irene out of the northern Mid-Atlantic. which will lead to massive flash flooding if this occurs. Again, if this moves a little bit further east, let's say Irene's out over here, usually what happens is the precipitation field with tropical systems when interacting with land masses starts to weaken on the western side of the low pressure system, and so the rainfall amounts are not as impressive. So that's kind of what we're looking for right now to spare the region of a massive rainfall event. And then, of course, we have another cold front. Once Irene pulls out, Tuesday, everything starts to clear out, and another weak cold front moves through for another chance for showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday. So we're going to be dealing with a tranquil weather pattern up through about Thursday afternoon, and then the action really starts to get cooking on Friday evening as we watch Irene possibly make a run up the East Coast. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. To find the latest weather information and severe weather coverage, always trust in NYNJPAweather.com or find NYNJPA Weather on Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.